The Maple Leafs add some more grit in the offseason, but is it enough to make it past round number 2? Hey everyone, Rob Wong here with another NHL season preview. This time we'll take a dive into the Toronto Maple Leafs, and joining me to do that are Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan of the Toronto Sun. And guys, it was a busy offseason for new GM Brad Treliving, who added Tyler Bertuzzi, Max Domi, Ryan Reeves, and John Klingberg to a roster that finally made it out of the first round for the first time in 19 years. Lance, we won't know until April, but on paper, have the offseason additions made this year's team better than last season's, in your opinion?
Well, Rob, they lost some people, of course, at the end of the year and over the summer, but I do like the additions of the four guys you mentioned. If the playoff versions of those guys show up, that is the 27 points in 30 games, I believe, from Bertuzzi, Domi, and John Klingberg, that would be very beneficial for the Leafs, who, as everyone knows, have struggled a bit to have their stars contribute come playoff time. If those guys show up, then certainly it's a good deal. And then you look at the secondary group. You have Simon Benoit on defense, Dylan Gambrell, fourth line center, Martin Jones in net. I think those can only help, but of course it's a very crowded roster, and salary cap issues are going to move in there as well, especially for those bottom guys. So it's very much an unwritten book at this stage.
Yeah, it is. I think I'd take a wait and see attitude with the additions that Treliving's made. I like the potential for the scoring punch that Todd Bertuzzi, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Max Domi bring. Probably not the last time we'll make that little hiccup, but I like what Bertuzzi and Domi bring. Definitely, Klingberg's got that offensive side on the blue line. Of course, I'd be a little concerned with some of the defensive assets that I'm out the door during the summer, namely Ryan O'Reilly, Alex Kerfoot on the PK, Justin Hall on the PK, and the physicality that Luke Shen brought on the blue line. So some of those things will have to be addressed. But Brad Treliving does have time on his side, and this didn't all have to be done for October 11th in the opener against Montreal Canadiens. There are many months to go before the trade deadline will hit sometime early in March, and Treliving will have will be able to make some of the amendments that he needs to make. But overall, we'll see. I like like I said, I like what Bertuzzi and Domi especially can potentially bring to the top six on offense.
Terry, we know that the fortunes of this team still rides on the core 4 or 5, if you want to add Morgan Riley in the mix. There was a lot of talk in the offseason about maybe one of the core pieces moving out, but ultimately Brad Treliving decides to run it back again. Is that the right move for this franchise that is still looking to take that big jump in the postseason?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. First of all, I like the contract that Austin Matthews got. I think it's good both for the player and the team. I know that some people wanted a longer term, but I just think financially it makes sense for the Maple Leafs, especially toward the end of that deal 5 years from now. Um, I always thought with this core group, what it would be like with a different set of eyeballs. I know that really the greater impact would come had there been a coaching move, and I don't think there should have been. But really, from the GM's chair, how does he mold this team now, and what is that core 5, if you will, the role that it's going to play? Obviously, it's going to be a big one. And of course, the asterisk is William Nylander, and whether he is signed by the deadline in March, and if not, what the Leafs do then, considering he'd be a free agent next summer. So there is a little bit to go here, but running it back, whatever you want to call it, I don't mind it at all. I think it's fine. I think that a lot of these people you would have a hard time replacing. In fact, you wouldn't replace. You're not going to replace a Mitch Marner or an Austin Matthews if you trade them. I know Lance talked earlier about the getting the version of the players that played well in the playoffs and the newcomers, and I think that also applies to Morgan Riley as well, because he was excellent in the playoffs. He can get going from there. Forget about the regular season he had. The Leafs would be that much better for it.
Well, I'm certainly not in the camp of wanting to trade away all-stars and potential Hart Trophy winners. So, yeah, bringing it back is good. I mean, I can understand the angst out there when, they made a meek exit against Florida, and, of course, give them respect for at least winning one round and getting past Tampa Bay. But, again, you had Matthews struggling to score, and, Marner could have played better, and they all could have really. It was, it's part of the reason they brought in more sandpaper to start the season versus bringing it in later. I think it all works, to Terry's point, if you get William Nylander settled. I think that's a potential for a distraction. If you can get rid of that, then things will be better. Of course, he is under contract for this year, but if you bring him back and then someone like Matthew Nyes maybe steps up, and even if Bertuzzi doesn't work out on left wing in the top line, that's a pretty good secondary plan to go with. So it all, I think it all works from that perspective. The bad side is that in bringing those guys back, you're over the cap, and somebody by the end of camp has to go, and that's going to be maybe a very difficult situation, especially if they find some good chemistry and look good in exhibition games. Unfortunately, somebody with a salary of 3 to 4 million is going to have to go. That is, if there's not an injury somewhere else.
And finally, goaltending is always a hot topic in Toronto. Lance, Ilya Samsonov had a strong first season, while Joseph Wall showed flashes down the stretch. This is a still young tandem, though. Is it strong enough, though, for a team with cup aspirations?
Well, you know what? It's Ontario backed me up on this. It's great to have a summer where goaltending isn't always the number one topic. Get rid of this guy, bring in this guy, that kind of thing. Samsonov, I think, really proved a lot. It's unfortunate he got hurt, but I think both he and Joseph Wall will benefit from a better defense. And of course, Luke Shen is gone, and that was a loss. And as Terry said, Klingberg's not exactly known for his defense versus helping out the power play on offense. But they got Mike Van Ryn coming in now as a coach on defense. And if they can continue good team defense and continue putting the puck in the net, then the pressure isn't going to be on these two goalies, be it Samsonov or be it Joseph Wall. And let's see what he does. He has that, Jones is there, and they have the possibility of maybe having to demote Wall because of roster situation. But we'll see. For first time in a long time, they have a good starter and a good backup.
Yeah, I like the Samsonov, going forward with him, obviously, and I think the arbitration award was fair for both sides, and there is something there for him to build from, no doubt. I guess the question for me is, how will this goaltending shake out, provided that all three are healthy come the end of the preseason? As Lance alluded to, the money's going to have to come from somewhere for the Leafs to be cap compliant as of October 11th. And, they're not going to carry three goalies. The fear, of course, is that you lose one of Joseph Wall or Martin Jones on waivers because, they both require them. Wall now, I don't know if you want to get into that game, 25 years old, certainly a lot of potential there. Martin Jones won 27 games for Seattle last year. So there's a veteran experience there that if another team in the National Hockey League runs into some injury issues in camp, he's making less than $1 million. He'd be a good pickup for a team perhaps looking for veteran goaltending. So the key is Samsonov has proven himself a good number one goalie, finished in top 10 in several categories last year. I'm just really curious to see how the rest of it plays out. Like I said, once we get into the regular season.
Well, as we always know, never a dull moment in Leaf land. For all of Lance and Terry's Maple Leafs coverage, head over to the Toronto Sun.